Good afternoon. I know you expect to see our fearless leader up here today. Dean Calhoun wanted me to tell you guys all congratulations and to express to you that the only group that could keep him from being at this event was ACPE. And he is on an ACPE evaluation team right now. He wanted me to make sure that you guys knew that he will be back in town tonight and present and accounted for in the morning. So he is proud of and excited for you all, as we all are. So I want to thank you guys for participating in selecting the speakers for today. This is our third annual Prescriptions for Success. And each of the speakers that will have 3 minutes to speak today were selected by nominations from your class. So I hope you enjoy the prescriptions that they have for you this morning. The way that this came to be, just to kind of give you guys a brief history, when you guys and I started actually this program at the same time. So your class holds a little bit of a special place in my heart as we started our academic journeys together. When you guys were starting, our first class was in their third year, and I started hearing some things about this pearls of wisdom that was being done by some colleges of medicine, our College of Medicine and one down in South Carolina, and looked into that, and it seemed like a great opportunity for people that you guys have recognized as mentors to come back and have a distinct honor and opportunity to tell you guys something to hopefully make you successful in life beyond what we talk about in the classroom. We've talked about a lot of drugs, we've talked about how to use them and how to practice pharmacy, but this is how we hope you guys will live out a life of success. And so with no further ado, our first speaker, and we will go in alphabetical order, is Dr. John Bazar. You'll notice we did move Odell to the end. And if our speakers will just come on up in succession as each one ends and try to keep to the 3 minutes. Thank you.
Do we have a timer? Like I get a hand at 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the class of 2012 for inviting me to speak today. I'm very honored and very humbled to be up here that you think, or at least one of you, I guess, wants to hear what I have to say. Maybe only 10 people put down a name, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll give it my best shot in now 2.5 minutes. Jeez. I know you guys probably don't have your clickers in front of me, but I do want to do a little audience response right now, all right? So, can I get all the parents to raise their hand? Show of hands. Who's a parent? Who's got children? All right? Keep your hand raised if it's easy. All right? Now raise your hand if it was worth it, or is worth it, okay? All right? 100%, so everyone says it's hard work being a parent, but it's worth it, okay? How many people have done a residency, pharmacy residency? Right? Show of hands. Okay? Keep your hands raised if it was easy. Could you raise them again if it was raise your hands again if it was worth it? Okay. All right. There's a trend developing here. Show of hands. Who's been through pharmacy school? All right. Was it easy? Is it worth it? See, those of you that don't have jobs are still kind of in the middle here. The point that I'm trying to make here is that there really is nothing in life worth doing that's easy. There's nothing in life worth doing that's easy. Because everyone else is already doing it. If you're really going to do something special that's going to make a difference, by nature it has to be something difficult that not everyone can do. And I hope, and I'm proud, and I believe that we have given you the tools to do something special, to be successful. So I don't want you ever to shy away from something because it's difficult. Because those are the only things you'll do in life that will ever mean anything to anybody else and will ever make a difference, are the difficult tasks. So embrace them, tackle them, conquer them, and I know that you will. I know that you'll make us all very proud as folks here at the Gatton College of Pharmacy. Thank you.
Using up my time already? right, y'all. Thank you so much for choosing me to be part of your program today. I thought for several days on what I could say that would be meaningful. I wanted it to be memorable. And I mostly wanted you to go away and say, gosh, Dr. Brown is so wise. Man. But I couldn't come up with anything on my own, so I turned to a source of wisdom that I know a lot of people in this region turn to often on a daily basis. And of course, I mean the PALS sign. I'm not kidding. It's wisdom every day, or a tasty special. So I started watching the signs every day, thinking, what would a good message be? And I saw one that said, embrace opportunity. And I was like, that's okay, but it's sort of lame because these people have already done that. I mean, they got this far. So a few days later, I saw one that said, if not you, then who? So if not you, then who? And it made me think about how most of you have spent the majority of your lives in doing your education, being pretty much told what to do and when to turn something in and when to take this exam and do this project. And you did that over and over and over to prove that you deserve to be here today. And so that comes with a lot of, new expectations where you're not being led anymore, but you're going to be the leaders. And so that's why I leave you with a few questions. If not you, then who's going to mentor those students that come into your pharmacy? If not you, then who will be a resource for the marginalized people in your community that don't have access to other health care? If not you, then who is going to be a voice for your profession as healthcare changes during your career? And of course, if not you, then who's going to be an advocate for your patients? And I'm talking about those patients that have so much faith in you that they will follow you from pharmacy to pharmacy for your entire career. So if not you, then who? Thanks for your 3 minutes and congratulations.
Well, good afternoon. Boy, this is just a fantastic day and a fantastic event leading up to tomorrow. Let me begin my remarks with a hearty congratulations to you, the class of 2012. This is just fantastic. We are so proud of you guys, and we cannot wait to see you go across the stage tomorrow. Additionally, before I begin, and before I get too far into my comments, I would be terribly remiss if I didn't say what an honor and a privilege it is to be invited to speak today. It's so humbling to know that in some small way I have affected you or your class, so thank you very much. As I prepared for today in my remarks, I kept in mind the instructions. Give my thoughts, wisdom, and encouragement to you, the class of 2012, in 3 minutes. Now, I'm not sure if I can do anything like this in 3 minutes, but I certainly welcome the opportunity to address your class one more time. And I hope these comments provide some nugget of wisdom that you find relevant. As I contemplated my 3 minutes, I guess I'm actually down to 2 now, a variety of ideas came to mind. Most importantly, I wanted to address something that is relevant to you both as a professional and a person. I reflected on my own graduation, and I considered the sage advice of my various mentors that I've been so fortunate to have throughout my career and lifetime. There are so many things to consider when you graduate pharmacy school. Although potential advice at this stage in your life and at this point in your career is limitless, relatively quickly I settled on one simple idea that, in my humble opinion, addresses it all. Now, don't get too excited. I don't have the meaning of life, and I doubt these comments will be etched in stone somewhere. Nonetheless, I have a personal epiphany to share. These words have made me a better husband, a better father, a better son, a better friend, a better colleague, and yes, I believe, a better teacher. My advice for you today is, it's not about you. Now take that for just a moment and let it sink in. Here on the eve of your graduation, after 4 long and difficult years, and shall we say, a few tuition dollars, it's not about you. You have chosen and earned the right to join this noble profession. Having worked with your class over the years, I have no doubt that individually and collectively, your class will represent itself, the college, the university, and the profession well. So long as you buy into the phrase, it's not about you. In the future, when you're closing the pharmacy after a busy day and a patient comes to you for assistance, right as you're about to walk out the door, it's not about you. When you have ended a long day at the hospital and the code pager that's on your hip goes off, it's not about you. When the clinic patient magically transforms a scheduled 15-minute appointment into a 1-hour-long medication review of a very complicated drug therapy that delays all subsequent appointments and likely your lunch, it's not about you. It's about servant leadership, giving priority to the needs of your patients, colleagues, and others before you. I'll be honest, it took me a long time to learn this very important lesson. Our society, our culture emphasizes individualism. We focus excessively on ourselves rather than others. I was reading an article the other day that lists phrases that graduates will likely hear this spring during commencement. Examples include follow your passions, chart your own course, march to the beat of your own drummer, follow your dreams, and find yourself. Now don't get me wrong, we all have passions and goals in life, and I certainly encourage you to pursue your dreams diligently, but only with the realization that your purpose on this earth is beyond personal fulfillment. Tomorrow you will receive a degree that immediately garners trust and respect from the public. Only when you realize that it's not about you do you truly accept the significant responsibilities associated with being a pharmacist. Now to close, let me share with you a quote from John C. Maxwell that, in my opinion, provides fantastic guidance as you embark on your pharmacy career. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Think about it. It's really good advice. So once more, let me thank you for the honor of speaking today. I wish each of you the very best, and I look forward to watching you cross the stage tomorrow. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say to those of you who made it possible for me to be up here in front of all these people and a camera to speak today, from the bottom of my heart, why are you doing this to me? If it's the TB skin test reminders, I promise I won't ever send another one again, okay? No, I am truly honored and humbled to be addressing this particular group of students. And though I don't really feel that I have words of wisdom to offer you, I am thankful for the opportunity to share some words that maybe have helped me and encouraged me, which I hope you will carry with you. And maybe also just a glimpse of what it is that you all mean to me. I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and do good in one's lifetime. And there is nothing better than to be able to do good in one's work. Your work is some of the most noble work that there is to do. And the people for whose medicine you provide and future students that you may mentor, and I hope that you do. And this is all a gift from God. But not just in the pharmacy, the hospital, or wherever it is that you choose to live out your occupation. Never tire of doing good in all of your interactions with all people. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Tomorrow you will take the oath of a pharmacist, which states in part that you will embrace and advocate changes to improve patient care. And while improving patient care certainly is an essential part of your commitment, my hope is that you will use your position of influence to expand your advocacy for good beyond the pharmacy and into your homes, your families, your friends, your places of worship, and the community at large. The profession you have chosen is noble, and those in your circle of influence look to you for guidance. And your circle of influence is much larger than you realize. Those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. I don't believe it's possible or even very effective to do good work or be a voice for the voiceless without staying humble. And so many of you have mastered these principles already in a way that I have yet to reach, but you will be challenged and tested on these. And so I encourage you today once again to hold to these three things. Never tire of doing good, be a voice for the voiceless, and stay humble. You are truly special to me. Okay, you're my favorite class. I said it. And in my opinion, all classes that come after you will be measured against you. Not necessarily because of academics. I don't know. I'll let the faculty talk about it. But because of your character, your personality, and you're just giving nature. I hope you will allow me to encourage you to keep giving of yourselves, because there is so much that you can give. My work has allowed me to be a very small part of your lives, and when I look out and see your faces, I know that my work has been a gift from God. When I was asked to speak today, I was overwhelmed. Truly, there is so much that I wish you knew about what you mean to me. But I'll end with this, without trying to sound too weepy, but I'm just going to blame it on the pregnancy hormones. I love you, and I will miss you. Thank you for allowing me to be a small part of your lives. And I truly hope that tomorrow will not be the last time that I get to see your smiling faces. Take care. Remember us as we will remember you. And keep in touch. Thank you.
How does one follow that? I think I'd rather follow Dr. Odell. I came with some notes. I followed Dr. Crouch's example. I was going to bring a PowerPoint, but somebody convinced me not to. It's hard to believe that 4 years have gone by in what seems like just a blink of an eye. And the time has seemed to be short, but you guys have made a tremendous investment in what you have done here, and a tremendous investment of us. Does anybody know how many exams that they've taken over the past 4 years? Somewhere between 100 and 120 exams. You've poured yourself into experiential education to the tune of about 1,740 hours. How many hours have you spent in the classroom? I know some of you about 30. That was a good semester. And the rest of you about 2,000. You have invested a tremendous amount into your education and into our program here. And while the class of 2012 is the third class to graduate from the Gatton College of Pharmacy, you have served still as early pioneers, which means that you have made our program a better program, especially for the classes behind you. And we greatly appreciate the investment that you have made in us and the impact that you have made to the Gatton College of Pharmacy over the past 4 years. And for that, I thank you. Your departure from ETSU marks a milestone in your career, one that you will always remember. And as you leave our program and begin your career, I'd like to ask you to consider a couple of questions. The first question is, after 4 years and 3,700 hours of instruction, has your education ended? I'm hearing crickets out there. Some of you will answer with a hearty yes and amen, brother. And I would submit, however, that your education has not ended, but has just begun. Please let me explain. Some say that medical knowledge doubles every 5 years. Consider this. You're in the home stretch of a $150,000 world-class education. And much of what we've taught you will be out of date in the next several years. As an example, look how far we've come just over the past 40 years. Does anybody know how many drugs were available when Dr. Calhoun went to school? They didn't have the top 200 drug cards back then. It was more like the top 10, and it fit on one card. Now, when Dr. Rohn went to school, the scientific community soared to higher levels, the highest levels, fit the drug on 2 cards. And now look where we are today. Time magazine has reported 150,000 preparations on the market today, with 15,000 being added on an annual basis. That's 41 per day. It is an incredible feat just to keep up with the information coming at you. Your education has just begun. Over the past 4 years, yes, we've trained you for entry-level practice, but most importantly, we've given you the solid scientific foundation and taught you to critically think about your patients, their problems, and therapeutic solutions. These are the tools for lifelong learning. Your education has just begun. In this rapidly changing healthcare system, you need to be constantly preparing yourself for the future. Stay sharp, don't stagnate. It's a sobering reminder that we can be replaced by automation or by a pharmacist graduating from one of those new schools. Your education has just begun. So how do you stay sharp as a professional? First of all, don't rest on the laurels of the wonderful education you've gotten here at ETSU. Second, serve your profession by training students, not just any students, but ETSU students. Students keep you current, students keep you sharp. I'm not sure if you fully recognize that. And lastly, get involved professionally. Join TPA, join a national organization, get involved in a committee. Remember we talked about the role of the pharmacist back in the 1960s? The APHA Code of Ethics didn't even have pharmacists speaking to patients. Look how far we've come over 40 to 50 years by people investing themselves in this profession. I challenge you to do the same thing and bring us to the next plateau in the next 40, 50 years as you embark on your career. The second question, and it'll be short, it's a very simple question. Why do we need pharmacists anyway? Some people could have a very highly intellectual answer, I suppose, but the most simple answer is that people need help with their medicines. Patients need help, as you know, and physicians need help, as you know. And so we very simply need help. Remember that during first weeks of class when we discussed professionalism, we said that a professional displays values, beliefs, and attitudes that puts the needs of others ahead of her own personal needs, his or her own personal needs. In other words, it's about serving others. Goes back to Dr. Crouch's message. And hopefully over the past 4 years, amid the memorization, the technical knowledge, all the skills that we've imparted to you, you have come away with the idea that the patient-centered model really cuts to the heart of what it is to be a pharmacist. And we're faced in this profession with sometimes placing the business model over taking care of patients. And I want to challenge you to overcome this mindset. Business is important, yes, but we should not have to legislate talking to patients. I want to tell you that MTM cases in this state, there are thousands of them that are unmet, that are not being addressed. Why is that? I'll leave you with that question. Be transformational in your thinking. And then in closing, I believe that true satisfaction in life is found by serving God and serving others. And I would challenge each of you to become a servant leader to your patients, your families, your communities, and even your alma mater. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. I'll leave you with the following thought. 100 years from now, it won't matter what school you graduated from, what your GPA was, how much money you made. What will matter is the impact that you had on the life of a patient. I thank you for the honor of being able to address you here today. It's been my privilege to be involved with your education over the past 4 years, and I look forward to your big day tomorrow and in serving together as colleagues.
Well, thanks for asking me to speak today. I have a hunch, though, that some of you picked me because you know I'll weep like a sissy and you just wanted to see it. I was thinking about what I should say to you all, and the phrase, "it's time to put on your big kid pants," came into my mind, and I thought, nah, somebody else will say that. Then I realized that I wasn't really talking about your pants. I was talking about mine. Because this is the class that really took me from being a pharmacist to a teacher in my mind. Here it comes. Y'all have taught me so much, and some of the things you've taught me, I have to give you 2 lessons. The first is if you're going to give a short answer exam to a group of students, you have to tell them more than 7 days in advance, or they get really mad. But then they do awesome, so it's fine. And then the other piece of advice was just recently shared with me, and this was Corinne and Jamie and Marcy, and this is that I can't eat my leftovers if they're more than 5 days old. So appreciate, you'll probably save my life one day. So y'all have just, you've taught me a lot, and I wanted to impart on you some wisdom. The first one is more of a demand, and you know it's coming from me, and it's to be kind to those with mental illness. There are few professions in this world that are well equipped to serve them well, and you're now one of them. So they deserve your kindness, and they deserve your compassion and your knowledge, and you have it all inside of you, so share it with them. I am not usually this weepy. The other thing I would say is be generous with your money. You guys, I know you have a lot of loans to pay. We all pay a lot of taxes. But if you think about it, even if you pay $2,500 a month to Sally Mae, which a lot of you will, you have so much left over. So much more than you need. And a lot of people can't say that. So give. And I think that's all I'm going to say because I'm going to sob. So thank you guys. I love you. Good luck.
Well, like everyone has said, I've been absolutely honored to be chosen to speak to you guys today. You're a very special class, and I can't believe that tomorrow is almost here. Congratulations to you all. So, as I was thinking about what to tell you guys today, I thought of this cross stitch that my mom had in our kitchen growing up, and it said, "The hurrier I go, the behinder I get." And I felt like that was always a very appropriate thing to be in the kitchen because, of course, if you're ever in a hurry when you're making something, you forget an ingredient, knock over the oil and make a huge mess on the floor or the counter, or you leave the rolls in and forget to set the timer and they're all burned. So it was very appropriate in that sense. But I think it's also important to remember in life in general as well. Obviously, as you guys care for patients, you need to remember the hurrier you go, the behinder you get, and take the time to listen to your patients and to talk to them. Take that extra time to counsel them, and because it's really going to make a big difference in their health outcomes. And also, I think about it being important advice in life as well. As you guys know, I have 2 now little boys, and Daniel, my 3-year-old, loves when I drop him off at school to have like 5 hugs. And some mornings I'm in a huge hurry, and that's a kind of a little source of frustration that he's doing that delay tactic. And then, one day I was walking out of school and I'm like, I'm going to be so late because I had to give 5 hugs. And I thought about, you know what, Brooks, that's ridiculous. Your little boy wanted 5 hugs from you. And one day when you drop him off from school, he's not going to want 1 hug. And one day he's going to want you to drop him like a block from school so he doesn't even have to be seen with you. So at that point, I kind of changed my thinking, and I thought about, I'm going to embrace those moments of those 5 hugs, and I encourage you to do that too.
So just remember, my advice for you today is the hurrier you go, the behinder you get in both your work and in life. So congratulations again.
I get a laugh for just walking up. I have liked you guys. And like everybody else, thank you for this opportunity. I'm honored. I'm flattered. Congratulations. I sort of can't believe it, but there it is. Be graduating tomorrow. Okay? All right. So my advice to you guys is to avoid poverty. All right? Avoid poverty. And let me tell you how I got to that. When I think about doing this and offering advice to a large group of people, and there's a lot of diversity, a lot of different people, and who knows what to say to you? Who knows what success looks like for you? It probably looks different for everybody. Everybody's got their different versions of success. And so, it's hard to find something that universally fits. So I did what I often do, is I Googled success. And the things that came back, the many pages, all had to do with money. And I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. Go get some money. Go out and be successful, make a lot of money, get a lot of power, get a lot of control, get a lot of respect, most of all, get privilege, and it just didn't seem to fit. And I thought, well, so I don't want to tell them to go get a lot of money. But then I thought, well, the converse of that is to be, money can stave off poverty. And I don't think you want to go there. So it's not all bad, right? There's a certain amount of worth in that. And then I happened to hear last week from was just casually talking to a guy that's a retired engineer, and he's been working on a water project in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and providing clean water to villages that have a lot of disease because they don't have a water supply. And he said, those are the happiest people I've ever been around. They're just amazingly happy because they have community. They have one another. They have something to give to each other. And then I heard the definition of poverty as being the condition where you don't have the capacity to do something good for anybody else. That's what poverty is. And that's why my advice to you is to avoid poverty. Thanks.
Well, thank you guys. I know I've heard the word honored, humbled, flattered. I like that one, Dr. Roan, privileged. And certainly all those apply. It certainly is a very humbling experience to be asked to come up here and say a few words in front of you guys today. Typically, I try to tell a story, maybe something funny, but Dr. Odell always does a better job than I do. So I thought this time, as I was trying to decide over the last few days, a week or so, what in the world am I going to talk about? There's one thing that just kept coming back to my mind that I couldn't put out of my mind. And I thought, well, I'll share a story. It just might not be very funny, but certainly some good advice in it. It's about a patient. And it's about a patient we cared for about a month ago. We had a gentleman come in with AFib, rapid ventricular rate. Well, hemodynamically, we stabilized the patient and took an accurate history and found out really the problem was that he had lost his job and lost his insurance 15 months prior. So he couldn't afford his medications. So what we did is we figured out, well, how much can you spend? And then the students did a fantastic job of finding a regimen that this patient could afford. And so the advice I imparted to them was, see how you did something that's really simple, and it made such a huge difference. in the life of this patient. So some good advice. It's not always something really big. You can do something real simple that makes an impact in the life of a patient. Of course, we all felt really good about that. That was on a Tuesday. When he went home Friday, 6:08 p.m., I received a message that this patient was back with a massive ischemic stroke, intubated and in the ICU. So he'd had atrial fibrillation, heart failure. He'd been on a medication called Pradaxa, a great anticoagulant that cost over $200 a month. He'd been on Cardizem, $80 a month. 15 months prior, he'd walked into a pharmacy and been told his prescriptions were over $400. And a pharmacist or somebody in that pharmacy let him walk back out without any of his medications. And during that 15 months, he developed a thrombus in his atrium, and it just happened to be the week after, or within 3 days after we saw him, that it embolized and caused a massive stroke that ultimately led to his death 3 or 4 days later, at 54 years of age. So it's one of those situations that certainly will stick with me for the rest of my life. I'm sure that Jennifer and Sarah, it's going to stick with you guys the rest of your life. And I hope that you guys will remember part of that throughout your careers. When you have an opportunity to do something for a patient, even if it's something really simple, don't turn your back. Don't let the patient walk out the door when you have a responsibility to that patient. Take responsibility for the outcomes of your patients. And so that's the advice I'll leave you with today. I certainly would like to take an opportunity to just say congratulations to each and every one of you. I look forward to visiting with you over the next day or so, and God bless. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joy Weichel-Waddell, and I'm the pharmacist at Dispensary of Hope, in case some of you don't recognize me or don't know me. First of all, let me preface this as saying I'm not a good public speaker. I speak Booker Woods, backwoods English from way back when, so I will probably be brief because I speak very fast. So if I go over someone, please flag me. To say that I'm humbled and that I'm very thankful that you've invited me to share some thoughts with you. It's tremendous, and I thank you so very much. I'm truly honored. Thinking back to the 10 years ago when I was in Morgantown in your shoes, I was following in the footsteps of my sister who graduated from pharmacy school 5 years earlier. We were the first children in our family to ever have attended college, much less go into a professional program like pharmacy. And for what unknown reason, God saw divine intervention, and I was the first person in my family to ever receive a doctorate degree. But at that time, I remember the relief that my tenure at WU was coming to a close and I was moving on with my career, but also tremendous anxiety that I was going to be a pharmacist. There was a move coming, the boards, I had to start a new job, I had to find a job, and all of that I had to learn how to deal with, and oh, how I wanted a vacation to somewhere sunny and warm in the worst way. And those are still, 10 years later, very vivid memories for me. Looking back, I tried to rack my brain to come up with some words of wisdom as you leave your career as students in academia. Even though some of you, Mr. Jarrett White, are just gluttons for punishment, and you will be embarking on your new career in the trenches as a pharmacist. Some of you are. For those of you who are headed to residencies and hospital positions, I am truly in awe of you and your desire to work in this field of pharmacy. Truly in awe. You have a bright future. Farewell, God bless, and good luck. And I hope you mix my chemo well one day, because Lord knows I would not have been able to do this, and I would not be suited to do this as my job every day. For those of you headed out to the retail or outpatient world, and Stacey, I'm just going to say it, put your big girl, big boy panties on and roll up your sleeves. It's time to go to work. We are in the age of the fast food McDonald's era of pharmacy. The population as a whole in the United States is rushed, demanding, frustrated, and very impatient. And I happen to be one of those unfortunate people. So sometimes this just does not translate to a great working environment for us outpatient retail pharmacists. So I came up with a few little following ideas to sort of keep in the back of your mind every day as you work. Everyone is someone's loved one, whether it be their mom or their dad, their sister, brother, child. Even if they are rude, impatient, I came up with my own word here because they said stinky wasn't a good word. Odoriferous. Or if they're addicted to OxyContin, they're still someone's loved one. You cannot fix rudeness in your patients, but you can be courteous to them when you get a chance, because kindness kills. Pharmacists are still the most accessible healthcare provider. You will, believe it or not, have to fill a lot of questions about human health and well-being, and also animal care. Be prepared to talk about potty habits of the young and old, sex organs and their function and the lack thereof. Sometimes you'll be tag teamed by husbands and wives. And the health of your kitten, dog, horse, bird, or duck. And if you've been on with me with rotations in the last year, you've heard some of those stories, but oh, the stories I can tell about that. Check your prescriptions, recheck them, and then check them again. You can never be too careful. Being quick is good, but accuracy is the key. And as you progress in your profession, you will see that being obsessive compulsive is part of being a pharmacist. Be honest and tell someone if you don't know the answer or the solution to their question or problem. Be honest with them. They will respect this. Just tell them you'll look it up, or you'll call it back, or even call the drug company. And when you return that call to them, they'll be very thankful. Trust your instincts. That's the reason you have them, so trust yourself. Be professional but empathetic. Talk plainly. Not everyone has their doctorate, and slowly. Sometimes we all talk too fast, and that's a lesson I'm learning. Always listen to your patient and their caregiver. Sometimes they are the best resource to you as a healthcare professional. We are all very proud of all of you. The class of 2012 has truly been remarkable and awesome as a possum, as Mr. Tyler Melton would say. Dispensary of Hope Pharmacy could just not have operated this year without your help. From being the king and queen of MTM, to our resident baker, to our PR person who did recruiting for us at the health center for our Project Impact Diabetes, you have all done very well, and you will go far. Just remember, there is a master plan, and sometimes the weave is very intricate for each of us in life, even though sometimes we still wonder where we're going, and we have to take thought of that. And as my mama used to say, to those much has been given by God, much is expected in return. So girl, you've got lots of work to do today. The class of 2012, you have been given much, and now it's time to go to work. I have prepared a prescription of success for you, and it's on the table over there with your gift. Hopefully you will be able to fill this for yourselves on a daily basis, even if it's while you're taking a break in lawn and garden at Walmart after you've had a rough customer or a rough day. I've done that many times. Congratulations and good luck, and I hope, or I had hoped at this point, to be the first to welcome you to our profession. The prescription that I made up for you is an adaptation of Miss Catherine Stockett's The Help, which I love that movie and that book. And you need to repeat this to yourself every day when you doubt yourself in any situation, whether it be pharmacy, as a mama, as whatever. You are kind, you are smart, and you are important. Do that as often as you have to, in the mirror, in the bathroom, at Wally World, wherever, as often as you have to in order to get through your day. You can refill this as often as you want. And the DEA number for this is called a Druggist Encouragement Agency, and it's Dispensary of Hope's phone number. So give me a call if you need some help. Thank you so much.
Well, if I can see to get up here, I wore my contacts, so yeah, I don't think they're exactly right, but I don't know if I share with you guys or not. I didn't know they're supposed to adjust them too, so everybody kind of looks kind of foggy, but I like wearing them. Anyway, I say that, I guess, because I'm nervous. I'm trying to break the ice. I was trying to think of what I would say, and to the groups, I'm very honored to be here, and that you would think I could offer some, I guess, words of wisdom. I guess it's kind of like class, I get there and I sometimes wonder what I'm going to say. And then I just kind of roll with it. But this morning, as we were getting ready, I was kind of quiet. My wife, she'll probably be arrested later today for a truancy violation. She took my kids and 5 others to Dollywood, and so I'm gonna make a call into the Kingsport Police Department, tell them what she drives. But anyway, I would not do that. My life would be miserable. But anyway, as I was getting ready. As I was starting to get ready, my children noticed that I'm usually the one that's jumping around in the mornings. I know it's hard to believe. I open all the shades and let all the sun in and stuff, and they all hate it. But that's just, I'm a morning person, you know. And so my kids looked at me and said, my oldest daughter, she said, "Dad, what's wrong?" And I said, nothing's really wrong. I said, "I'm speaking to the students today. I really don't know what I'm going to say." And I said, "It's a prescription for success. Tell them how to be successful." And before she quit talking, my youngest daughter said, "Do what you do." And I looked at her and I said, "What do you mean, Maggie?" And I got thinking about this. Maggie was born when you guys started in August, and so she's 4 years old. And I asked Maggie, I said, "What do you mean, do what you do?" She said, "Well, that's what you always tell us. Do what you do." And I said, "Well, what's that mean?" And so, you know, and I'm thinking, and then Luis, my oldest son, he spoke up. He said, "Well, you know," he said, "in basketball," he said, I can't shoot. And he really can't. He couldn't hit a big basketball game. But he's mean on defense. I mean, he'll take the change out of your pockets, and he will. And he's actually he said, "I have 5 fouls. No need leaving the game with them." And so and so I kind of got the impression what they were saying. And so that's the first point I wanted to give to you, that actually they fed back to me and said, "Do what you do. Do what you do, and do it well." Not all of us are meant to do the same things. Like I know in school, you would definitely not want me in medicinal chemistry for any reason, or in cardiology, or I think other subjects as well, probably very few. But there's so many faculty that they do what they do, and they do it well. And that's what I encourage you to do, no matter where you're going, residency, hospital, retail. Jarrett, I know you're going law school or whatever, so do what you do, and do it well. And so on the way to work, I thought about that, and I said, my kids, I don't give them as much credit as I should. So I was thinking back, so what else, words of wisdom, would I pass along? And something else I tell them, and that my parents, I guess, told me, and I had a faculty member by the name of Dr. Emmett Manley that told us, said, "Stay true to who you are. Acknowledge your flaws. Don't try to change." I was in a speech class in college at ETSU, and I took it as a sophomore, but I didn't realize it was a senior level class, because my theory was, get all these other classes out of the way. And so I took that class anyway. I was in a speech class and went up and had to give impromptu speeches, etc. And I did fairly well at it and made pretty good grade in the class. And they were taking a group to, for this regional type speech, contest against other universities. I don't know, there's several universities. And I got to go to it anyway. I didn't win, but I remember on the way back, the professor said, he said, "You really do a great job." He said, "As far as the impromptu speaking," he said, "we can just give you any topic. You just jump up and start talking, and you get the audience engaged." But he said, you got that southern accent. He said, "Your vocabulary," he said, "you just really need to work on that." So that just really got me down, especially at 19 years old. I thought, man, I need to change that. For about the next year or so, I'd go around indubitably. Yes. Party of 2. I would, I didn't try to sneak in line anywhere, I really tried. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I went to a restaurant. The name of it was Trapper's Restaurant in Murfreesboro at the time. And we went in, and I was on a date. Believe it or not, I had dates back then. And that was well before I met my wife. Like I said, about 20 years old. But then I went in, and I'd never been to a real fancy restaurant. So here I tried to do this whole time, tried to be, yes, party of 2. And it said, oh yeah, that's the left fork. Real fancy place, because the only places I went growing up, this is the truth, they would raise the window and ask what you wanted to eat. Yeah. You'd say cheeseburger, French fry. Well, go wait in your car. We'll flag you when it's ready. So I'm in this restaurant where the waiters and waitresses are coming to the table, and it's about done, and it's a very nice young lady, cute young lady. She was from Franklin or somewhere. I don't remember her name, but she's from Middle Tennessee there close by. And then all of a sudden, I was sitting there. I said, "Well, we're getting about ready to go." She said, "Yeah." And I said, "I'll be right back." And so I got up and started walking around. I walked all through that restaurant looking. And she finally come up behind me, and she said, "Brian, what are you doing?" Well, I said, "I'm looking for the cash register." I said, "I got to pay this check." Well, I didn't realize you leave the money at the table. So that's when I realized it's very important to acknowledge your flaws, but still be yourself. That makes a big difference. difference in life. And I know sometimes it's very, very hard to do, to take a good look at yourself and say, you know, that guy was right. I do talk Southern. My vocabulary is probably not the best. But going back to my kids' statement this morning, my children, I still try to do what I do. And I try to do it well. Not always the best, but I try. And last but not least, I want to leave you with, keep that integrity. Keep that drive. Keep that honesty about you in a daily living, daily work. I know Thigpen and I, and he's not here today, we often say, we'll talk, and we've said this, especially in between classes. I know we talk, and we've been friends a long time. He'll say, Brian, I really, really try to give the students something every day that they can get them through a work day. And I say, Jim, that's right. He said, something that they can survive the day. Because he said, you know, when you get out there and get working, you work for 35 years or 30 or 20, whatever it is, he said, you may switch jobs. No matter what you do, you want to do something, he said, but you want to tell them to get through the day. And so that's what I tell you to, you know, have that integrity, live honestly. If you make an error during the day, or if someone else does, remember that you stumble and fall sometimes too. Or if you make one, acknowledge that and move on, because that's peace of mind. And my mother used to tell me, and she's exactly right, and you'll learn as you get older, and whatever you do during the day, you got to sleep with at night. So make sure you do and follow what you feel is right. And again, I appreciate it, and thank you for the opportunity, and good luck to you.
Well, I hope you guys each got something that will encourage you and inspire you as you go into practicing. I just have a few words to say before you guys go. A couple of things that kind of themes throughout. You've heard a lot of servant leadership, and one easy way to encapsulate that is the Hard Rock Cafe's motto: love all, serve all. If you live in that manner, it will encapsulate a lot of these things that have been shared with you today. So love all, serve all. Another phrase that Dr. Crouch said earlier that does encompass a lot of what people have said is that no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so that also just keep in mind as you guys go into practice. We have all been proud, and I have definitely been proud to call you guys our students. And now we are elated to call you guys doctors, colleagues, and friends. So congratulations on all of your accomplishments. You deserve celebration. As you guys leave today, make sure to stop by the table over here to pick up your graduation present and your prescription from the Dispensary of Hope. Thank you guys all.